Hello, and welcome back to Let's Master English. I'm your host, Sarah, and I'm so glad you've decided to press play and join me today. Get yourself comfortable because we're about to go on a fascinating journey, not to another country, but into our own minds. Today, we're going to explore how the human brain works and what that means for you as an English learner. We'll be using a guide for our journey, a brilliant and world-famous book called Thinking, Fast and Slow by Daniel Kahneman. Daniel Kahneman is a psychologist who won the Nobel Prize in Economics, which is amazing because he's not an economist. He won the prize for his work on how people really make decisions. His book is a global bestseller, and its ideas have changed everything from marketing to medicine. But what I find most exciting is that his ideas can completely change the way we think about learning a language. The central idea of thinking fast and slow is simple but profound. Kahneman says that we have two different ways of thinking, two systems that operate in our minds. He calls them System 1 and System 2. Now, these are not two physical parts of your brain. You can't see them in an MRI scan. They are just useful metaphors or characters in a story to help us understand the two different ways our minds work. System 1 is your fast thinking. It's automatic, intuitive, and emotional. It operates without any effort. System 2 is your slow thinking. It's logical, analytical, and requires concentration and effort. You might be thinking, that's interesting, Sarah, but what does this have to do with learning English grammar or vocabulary? The answer is everything. Understanding these two systems is like getting a user's manual for your brain. It helps you understand why some parts of English feel easy and others feel so difficult. It explains why sometimes you can speak freely and other times you get stuck searching for words. Most importantly, it gives us a powerful new way to think about our ultimate goal, fluency. In today's episode, we are going to decode fluency. We'll explore what System 1 and System 2 are, how they work when you're learning English, and how you can train them to work together more effectively. We will look at practical tips, tricks, and examples from around the world to help you use your brain's natural systems to become a more confident and automatic English speaker. Ready to meet the two characters in your mind? Let's begin. Part 1. System 1. The fast brain and the dream of fluency. Let's start by getting to know the first character in our story, System 1. System 1 is the hero of our daily lives. It works silently and automatically in the background, making thousands of decisions for us without us even noticing. Let me give you some examples. Look at this equation. The answer, 4, just popped into your head, right? You didn't have to think about it. You didn't get a piece of paper and calculate it. The answer just appeared. That is your System 1 at work. Here are other things your System 1 does. Recognize that a person's voice sounds angry. Drive a car on an empty road. Understand simple sentences in your native language. Look at a picture of a sad child and feel pity. As Daniel Kahneman writes in Thinking Fast and Slow, System 1 operates automatically and quickly with little or no effort and no sense of voluntary control. It's your brain on autopilot. It's fast, efficient, and usually very good at what it does. It handles all the easy stuff so that your conscious mind is free to focus on more difficult things. Now, let's connect this to English. When you hear the word fluency, what do you think of? You probably imagine speaking English without stopping, without translating in your head, without thinking about grammar rules. You imagine the words just flowing out of your mouth easily and naturally. In other words, fluency is the state where speaking English has become a System 1 activity. For native speakers, their language is almost entirely a System 1 process. When I'm speaking to you now, I'm not thinking, okay, I need a subject, then a verb, then an object. The sentences just form themselves automatically. That is the goal. We want to move English from the difficult, effortful category into the easy, automatic category. So, the big question is, how can we train our System 1 to speak English? It seems like magic, but it's not. It's about training your brain through smart, consistent practice.
Practical tips for training your System 1 in English. Here are some powerful techniques to make English more automatic and intuitive for you. 1. Overlearn the core. Think back to when you were a child. You learned the multiplication tables, 2 times 2 equals 4, 2 times 3 equals 6, etc., by repeating them again and again and again. At first, it was hard work, but after enough repetition, you didn't have to calculate 7 times 8. The answer, 56, just popped into your head. You moved that knowledge from effortful to automatic. We need to do the same with the core components of English. Core vocabulary. Identify the 1,000 or 2,000 most common words in English. Use flashcard apps like Anki or Memrise that use spaced repetition. This is a scientific method for showing you a word just before you are about to forget it. By practicing these words until they are overlearned, you won't have to search for them. They will just be there when you need them. Core grammar. Don't worry about every single complex grammar rule. Focus on the most important ones. For example, master the past simple, present simple, and present continuous tenses. Practice forming questions and negative sentences until you can do it without thinking. The goal is for the basic structures to become automatic. 2. Learn in chunks, not just words. System 1 doesn't think word by word. It thinks in patterns and chunks. A chunk is a group of words that native speakers often use together. For example, a native speaker doesn't think, how do you do? They think of it as one single block of sound as, how do you do? Other examples of chunks. By the way, on the other hand, I'm looking forward to, it depends on. When you learn these chunks, you give your System 1 bigger building blocks to work with. This makes your speech faster and more natural. How to do this? When you read or listen to English, pay attention to these word groups. Don't just write down depend in your notebook. Write down it depends on the weather. Don't just learn look. Learn I'm looking forward to meeting you. This is a key insight from the author Michael Lewis, not in Kahneman's book, but relevant, who talks about how experts in any field recognize patterns or chunks, not individual pieces of data. 3. Create an immersion environment. System 1 learns from what it sees and hears all the time. To make English automatic, you need to make it a normal part of your daily life. Example from the Netherlands. People in the Netherlands are often fantastic English speakers. One reason is that many American and British TV shows are shown there in English with Dutch subtitles. From a young age, they are constantly hearing English. Their brains absorb the sounds, the rhythm, and the common phrases automatically without studying. Your immersion, you can create this environment for yourself. Change your phone and computer language to English. Listen to English music. Watch English movies. Start with subtitles in your language, then move to English subtitles, then no subtitles. Listen to English podcasts like this one while you're cooking or driving. The goal is to make English the background music of your life. Your System 1 will start to pick it up even when you're not actively paying attention. Training System 1 is a long-term project. It requires patience and a lot of repetition. But every time you review a flashcard, practice a chunk, or listen to a podcast, you are paving a new road in your brain, making the path to English just a little bit smoother and more automatic.
Part 2. System 2. The slow brain and the hard work of learning. If System 1 is the fast, intuitive hero, System 2 is its slow, careful, and slightly lazy partner. System 2 is your conscious mind. It's the part of you that is thinking and paying attention right now as you listen to my voice. It's the part that you identify as you. Let's try a problem that uses System 2. Please calculate 47 times 19. No answer popped into your head, did it? To solve this, you have to stop what you are doing, focus, remember the rules of multiplication, and work through the steps. Your muscles might have tensed up. Your pupils might have dilated. It requires real effort. That is your System 2 at work. Here are other things your System 2 does. Fill out a tax form. Compare two different smartphones to decide which one to buy. Park a car in a very narrow space. Look for a woman with white hair in a crowd. Kahneman describes System 2 in this way. The operations of System 2 are highly diverse, but they have one feature in common. They require attention and are disrupted when attention is drawn away. System 2 is powerful, but it's also lazy. It doesn't like to work if it doesn't have to. It uses a lot of mental energy, and our brains are designed to conserve energy. This is a very important point for us as language learners. The entire process of learning English, consciously studying grammar, memorizing vocabulary lists, analyzing your mistakes, is a System 2 activity. It is hard work. It takes energy, and your brain will naturally try to avoid it. This is why after 30 minutes of intense grammar study, you feel tired and want to check Instagram. Your System 2 is exhausted and wants a break. It wants to hand control back to the easy, automatic System 1. So, the challenge is not to get rid of System 2. We need it. It's essential for learning. The challenge is to use our limited System 2 energy in the smartest, most effective way possible.
Practical tips for using your System 2 effectively. Here's how to manage your slow, effortful brain to get the best results without burning out. 1. Use focused study sessions. Since your System 2 energy is limited, don't waste it. A 25-minute session of deep, focused study is much better than 2 hours of distracted half-studying while you also watch TV and check your phone. The Pomodoro technique is a very famous time management method from Italy. It's very simple. 1. Choose one task. Example, study the present perfect. 2. Set a timer for 25 minutes. Work on only that task. No distractions, no phone, no email. When the timer rings, take a 5-minute break. After 4 Pomodoros, take a longer break, 15 to 30 minutes.
2. Be an active, not a passive learner. System 2 is lazy and will drift away if it's not actively engaged. Just reading a grammar book or watching a video is passive. It's easy for your mind to wander. To keep your System 2 switched on, you need to be active. Example from a German learner. A German speaker might struggle with the difference between for and since in English, as German uses a single word, Zeit. A passive approach is to just read the rule. An active approach is to read the rule, write a short summary of the rule in their own words, create 10 of their own example sentences using for and since, and try to teach the rule to a friend. Active learning techniques like summarizing, creating your own examples, and teaching others force your System 2 to engage deeply with the material. This makes learning much more effective. As the author Scott H. Young writes in his book Ultra Learning, deep understanding comes from wrestling with concepts, not passively consuming them. 3. Use System 2 to analyze your mistakes. Mistakes are not failures. They are data. They are clues that show you what your System 1 doesn't know yet. Your job is to use your slow, analytical System 2 to be a detective. How to do this? When your teacher corrects your writing or when you realize you made a mistake in a conversation, don't just say, oops. Stop and analyze it. What was the mistake? I said, I have seen him yesterday. Why is it a mistake? Because the present perfect is for an unspecified time, but yesterday is a specific time. What is the correct way? I saw him yesterday. Can I make 3 more correct sentences with this rule? This kind of careful, slow analysis is the perfect job for System 2. By doing this, you are programming your brain with the correct information, which will eventually help your System 1 produce the correct sentence automatically. System 2 is your teacher, your coach, and your analyst. It's the part of your brain that builds the foundation. Learning to use it wisely, in short, focused bursts of active work, is the key to making real, solid progress in English. Part 3. The Dance of Fluency. Getting System 1 and System 2 to work together. So we have the fast, intuitive System 1 and the slow, logical System 2. The secret to becoming a truly effective English speaker is not about choosing one over the other. It's about getting them to work together. Think of it like learning to play a sport, like tennis. When you first learn, you use System 1 for everything. You think,
Okay, hold the racket like this, watch the ball, move my feet, swing the racket. It's slow, clumsy, and very effortful. As you practice, these movements become automatic. Your system one takes over. You don't think about how to swing, you just swing. This is fluency. But even for a professional player like Roger Federer, System 2 is still working. It's watching, analyzing the opponent, and deciding on a strategy. System 1 executes the perfect shot automatically, but System 2 makes the high-level decisions. Speaking English is the same. It's a dance between the two systems. System 1 provides the automatic words and grammar chunks. System 2 monitors your speech, corrects errors, and helps you plan what you want to say, especially if it's a complex idea. However, for language learners, this dance can be difficult. Two common problems can happen. Problem 1, too much System 2, overthinking. This happens when you are so afraid of making a mistake that your slow, analytical System 2 is always in control. You are constantly checking grammar rules in your head. The result? You speak very slowly, with many hesitations, and you feel stressed and anxious. Your System 2 is blocking your System 1 from doing its job. Problem 2. Too much System 1. Fossilized errors. This is the opposite problem. It happens when you have practiced a mistake so many times that it has become an automatic System 1 habit. For example, a speaker who always says, "he don't like," instead of "he doesn't like." They know the rule, System 2 knows it, but their mouth produces the mistake automatically. System 1 is too fast. These are often called fossilized errors because they are very hard to change. So the goal is to find a healthy balance. We need to train System 1 to be fast and automatic, but we also need to keep System 2 active as a helpful editor, not a fearful controller. Practical tips for balancing your two systems. To achieve this balance, you need to have two different kinds of practice. Practice for fluency, training System 1, and practice for accuracy, training System 2.
1. Practice for fluency. Let System 1 lead. In these activities, your only goal is to communicate and keep talking. Don't worry about mistakes. The goal is to build speed and confidence. Shadowing. This is a fantastic technique. You listen to a native speaker through headphones and you try to speak at the same time as them, copying their pronunciation, rhythm, and intonation. You don't even have to understand every word. You are training your mouth to produce the sounds of English automatically. Free writing or free talking. Set a timer for 5 or 10 minutes. Talk or write continuously about any topic without stopping. If you can't think of a word, say it in your own language or describe it. Just don't stop. This forces your System 1 to work and builds your ability to speak without overthinking. An example from a polyglot. Many successful language learners, or polyglots, recommend having low-stakes conversations. Talk to yourself in the shower. Describe what you see out the window. The goal is to get your mouth moving and make speaking a physical, automatic habit. 2. Practice for accuracy.
let System 2 lead. In these activities, your goal is to be as correct as possible. Speed is not important. This is your chance to be slow and careful. Prepare a short speech. Choose a topic and prepare a 2-minute talk. Write it down, check it for errors, and practice it. This allows your System 2 to carefully choose the best vocabulary and grammar. Translation. Translate a short paragraph from your native language into English. Then, translate it back a few days later. Compare your new version with the original. This is a deep workout for your System 2, forcing it to think carefully about sentence structure and word choice. Proofreading. After you do a free writing exercise, your System 1 practice, go back the next day and read it carefully with your System 2 editor brain. Find your mistakes and correct them. This creates a powerful feedback loop between your two systems. By having both types of practice, you are training your brain in a complete way. The fluency practice builds the automatic foundation, and the accuracy practice refines it and makes it more correct.
Conclusion. Becoming the conductor of your mind. So, what have we learned from Daniel Kahneman's brilliant model of the mind? We've learned that our brain has two ways of thinking: the fast, automatic, intuitive System 1 and the slow, effortful, logical System 2. We've discovered that fluency in English is the process of moving your skills from the conscious effort of System 2 to the effortless automaticity of System 1. It's about making English so familiar that it becomes second nature. This journey requires training both systems. We train System 1 with repetition, learning chunks, and immersion so that we can speak automatically and intuitively. We train System 2 with focused, active study sessions so that we can learn the rules correctly and analyze our mistakes. And finally, we learn to make them dance together, practicing for fluency to build speed and confidence, and practicing for accuracy to build correctness and precision. Understanding this model is incredibly empowering. When you feel tired after studying grammar, you know it's because your System 2 has been working hard, and that's okay. When you get stuck and can't find a word in a conversation, you can recognize that your System 2 is interfering, and you can gently tell it to relax. You are the conductor of your own orchestra. System 1 is your talented, but sometimes wild, first violin, and System 2 is your careful, precise cellist. Your job is to know when to let each one play and how to make them create beautiful music together. So, your challenge for this week is to observe your two systems. As you go about your English learning, ask yourself, am I using System 1 or System 2 right now? Is this task easy and automatic, or does it require effort and focus? Just by noticing, you are taking the first step towards using your brain more intelligently. Thank you for joining me on this deep dive into the mind. I hope these ideas from Thinking Fast and Slow have given you a new and powerful way to look at your English learning journey. Until next time, keep practicing, keep learning, and keep thinking in both fast and slow ways.